Actors are born. Al Pacino, Hollywood's restless icon. Welcome to Actors Are Born, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the lives and careers of the greatest movie stars. Today, we shine the spotlight on an icon, an actor who has defined American cinema for over 50 years with his intensity, his charisma, and his unequaled ability to transform. Al Pacino. Alfredo James Pacino was born on April 25, 1940, in East Harlem, New York. The son of Italian-American immigrants with Sicilian roots, his childhood was marked by the divorce of his parents when he was only 2 years old. He grew up in the Bronx with his mother and maternal grandparents in economic conditions that were not always easy. From a young age, Alfredo, or Sonny, as his friends called him, showed a rebellious character and a disinterest in traditional studies, so much so that he dropped out of school at 17. But a passion was already burning within him, an irresistible call to the world of acting. To finance his dreams, he took on the most humble jobs: porter, shoe shiner, laborer. Every dollar earned was a step toward his goal. He attended the Herbert Berghof studio, but the real turning point came with his admission to the prestigious Actors Studio. Not on the first try, however. His tenacity was rewarded, and here, under the guidance of the legendary Lee Strasberg, Al Pacino honed his talent, immersing himself in the method, an approach to acting that requires a total physical and psychological immersion into the character. The 1960s saw him cutting his teeth in the off-Broadway theaters of New York, where his talent did not go unnoticed, but it was the cinema that was preparing the biggest stage for him. His first leading role came in 1971 with The Panic in Needle Park. He portrayed a young heroin addict with a realism so raw and touching that it caught the attention of a director who was about to change the history of cinema, Francis Ford Coppola. Coppola was looking for the face for Michael Corleone, the youngest and most tormented son of the mafia boss, in his new film, The Godfather. Although the production preferred more established actors, Coppola insisted. He wanted that young Italian-American actor with magnetic intensity. His gamble turned out to be a triumph. Pacino's performance, full of restrained glances and a glacial inner transformation, earned him his first of a long series of Oscar nominations. The 1970s were a golden decade for Al Pacino, a succession of iconic roles that established him as one of the greatest actors of his generation. In 1973, he was the honest and tormented police officer Frank Serpico in Sidney Lumet's Serpico, another performance that earned him an Oscar nomination. 2 years later, again with Lumet, he gave another memorable performance in Dog Day Afternoon in the role of the improvised and desperate bank robber Sonny Warzik. His famous cry, "Attica, Attica," became a chant of rebellion that went down in cinema history. The 80s arrived, and with them, a role that would become a true cult classic, despite initial criticism. In 1983, Brian De Palma directed him in Scarface. His Tony Montana, a Cuban refugee who builds a drug empire in Miami, is an excessive, violent, and tragic character. Initially, the film was criticized for its violence and explicit language, and even directors of the caliber of Milos Forman and Sidney Lumet expressed their disappointment with the choice of Pacino. But over time, Scarface and Pacino's over-the-top performance became a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of the excess of the 80s. After a period of distance from cinema, during which he returned to his first love, the theater, the 90s marked another rebirth. And finally, the long-awaited recognition from the Academy arrived. In 1993, after 7 nominations, Al Pacino won the Oscar for Best Actor for his extraordinary performance as the blind Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade in Scent of a Woman. His final monologue in the film is a lesson in acting that remains etched in memory. In the same decade, he gave us another memorable performance in 1995's Heat, directed by Michael Mann. The film has gone down in history for the first scene in which Pacino and another giant of cinema, Robert De Niro, finally act face to face. Their dialogue in a diner is a moment of pure cinema, a duel of looks and words between two masters. Al Pacino is not just an actor, he is a well-rounded artist. Over the years, he has also tried his hand at directing, bringing his passion for Shakespeare to the big screen with Looking for Richard and exploring the work of Oscar Wilde in Wild Salome. Personal and courageous projects that reveal his deep love for the written word and the theater. His career has continued tirelessly into the new millennium, with roles in films like The Irishman by Martin Scorsese, which earned him his 9th Oscar nomination for his portrayal of Union boss Jimmy Hoffa. Al Pacino has always tried to maintain a great deal of privacy regarding his personal life. He is never married, but has had important relationships with several actresses and has 3 children. He has always preferred for his characters to speak for him, those complex figures often on the margins of society, whom he has made unforgettable. Thank you for listening to Actors Are Born.